Hello, I'm Ed Roby, and I'm with Lake County PEG TV and the Lake County Sierra Club group. And I'm here with Victoria Grandin today. She's the regional representative for the Sierra Club in the Redwood region. And we both attended an event in Napa on Friday that was just fantastic, having to do with the Berryessa Snow Mountain National Monument. And Victoria, tell us what this National Monument thing is all about.
Okay, well, let's start with the Berryessa Snow Mountain region. This is 350,000 acres of federal land, most of it in eastern Lake County. It runs from Solano County south of Lake Berryessa, clear north to Snow Mountain Wilderness. It's portions of it are in 5 different counties. It's really remarkable for the animals and plants that live there. Its conservation values are fantastic. It's loaded with very special archaeological sites, thousands of years of Native American history, rare plants, rare animals. It's got 3 federally designated wilderness areas. It's got a wild and scenic river. There's tremendous recreational potential in the area. It is managed by 3 federal agencies, about half and half, the Bureau of Land Management and the National Forest Service, with a small area around Lake Berryessa owned by the Bureau of Reclamation. Although the conservation values are fantastic and the potential is enormous, the region also has problems. There's all sorts of development pressure around and about. The land managers who are really trying to do a good job for stewardship are understaffed and underfinanced. And there's pressures of things like marijuana grows and other illegal activities in the area. There's OHV use, which in some areas is not as well regulated as it should be, whereas in others it's really well managed. So about 6 years ago, a group of us who had been involved in having Cache Creek designated a state wild and scenic river got together and started talking about what we could do to preserve this area permanently and to give the federal agencies the tools they need to do their job better. And we came up with the idea that special designation as a national conservation area would do this job. This is a special category of federal lands that would mean that the region would be included in the National Landscape Conservation System, which has a special funding line, so that they would be able to get some extra money that they need to do their job. It would also mean that it would have a name, and this would help us build our attraction for visitors while also having the tools needed to protect the land from overuse. So we worked for, I would guess it was pretty close to 5 years to make this happen. This is something that would happen through federal designation of Act of Congress. And we went and talked to Congressman Mike Thompson. At that time, practically all of it was in his district. And he was very enthusiastic about it. Got in touch with Senator Barbara Boxer's office, and she was all in favor of this too. Then redistricting came along, and turned out that after redistricting, most of the area was in Congressman John Garamendi's district. We talked to him; he was all in favor of it. Little tiny bit in Congressman Jared Huffman's district up in Mendocino County. He thought it was a great idea too. So they got together and they put together federal legislation and introduced it in Congress, with Senator Boxer introducing parallel legislation in the Senate. The trouble is that although this did have a hearing, it ran into a deadlock in Congress. As we know, the Congress as currently constituted is not accomplishing very much. And they're particularly not accomplishing very much for public lands protection. So it was obvious, at least last year, that this was not going to happen in that manner, that Congress was not going to act. Well, there's another route to the same destination, which is permanent protection for this very special place. And that's for the President Obama, to use his powers under the Antiquities Act to designate it a national monument. He's done this in various other places around the country. Most recently, he added the 1,500 acres Point Arenas Stornetta public lands over on the Mendocino coast to the Coastal National Monument. And then he designated a much larger monument in New Mexico. And then just a month or so ago, the San Gabriel Mountains north of Los Angeles became a national monument by this route. So we decided what to do. This was actually Congressman Thompson's idea that he first presented at a Sierra Club meeting in Santa Rosa when we were celebrating.
That's right.
You were there,
I
you
was.
remember that.
Yeah.
We were celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Wilderness Act. And Congressman Thompson, who I think everyone seeing this will remember, authored the Wilderness Bill back in 2006 that created the Cache Creek Wilderness Area here in Lake County and added to Snow Mountain Wilderness and also a bit of Sanhedrin and Yuki Wilderness in the northern part of the county. So he's a real wildlands advocate. And he was talking about this, and we were all applauding and remembering those great days. And he all of a sudden said, well, there's more to do. There is this wonderful Berryessa Snow Mountain region. It's the wild heart of the Intercoast Range. It deserves permanent protection too. I've introduced this legislation. Congress isn't doing anything. So he asked us all, please go out and write letters to the Secretary of the Interior, Sally Jewell, ask her to come to this region and see it for herself and recommend to the President that it be designated a national monument. So we got a letter writing campaign going, we got petition drives going with a lot of partner organizations led by an advocacy organization over in Yolo County called Tuolumne, and really said to the administration, here is something wonderful that the President can do to build his legacy and to create a legacy for our children and grandchildren by creating this national monument. And the culmination of that stage of the campaign was the meeting over in Napa on Friday when Secretary Jewell was there, Undersecretary Robert Bonney from the Department of Agriculture was there. Since Forest Service owns about half this land, that's under the Department of Agriculture, not the Department of Interior,
Right.
Secretary Jewell. So they came to Napa to hear what the people had to say. And the first thing they did before we even gathered was they all went out for a hike on the Redbud Trail. And the water was pretty high. They waded across Perkins Creek. There's a bunch of pictures. There's a picture on the front page of the Chronicle showing Secretary Jewell splashing across and getting wet to the knees. A bunch of other people behind her who look a little bit less intrepid than she is. And then we all met 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday at the Napa Community College Auditorium. An expert panel was there to talk about various aspects of the Berryessa Snow Mountain region and why it was important to protect it permanently. Lake County Board of Supervisors Denise Rushing was on that panel talking about the really beneficial economic impact this can have to gateway communities, including, we're hoping, right here in the city of Clear Lake, where we are at this moment. There's talk of a visitor center here, attraction of many more visitors to the area that can really help build our visitor-based economy here in Lake County and also elsewhere in the region, such as the city of Winters, which is really excited about this proposal. Before the panel even started, there was a prayer offered by an elder, a Pomo elder, I believe her name is Sarah Murphy. And we also heard from elementary school students from Winters who read little accounts that they had about why permanent protection was so important. Secretary Jewell spoke, Undersecretary Bonney, Congressman Garamendi was there, and he also spoke. Several other people from the region on this panel talked about the importance of protecting the area, and then it was thrown open to comments from the crowd, which I would guess was pretty near capacity. This was a 500-seat auditorium, and my guess is there were about 400 people there, which, considering we only had 3 days' notice, and considering it was raining, and considering it's less than a week before Christmas, I thought was really remarkable. The vast majority said, yes, we really need to protect this legacy for our children and grandchildren. There were several others who had a very different point of view, and some of those will be in the film of the meeting that we were about to see.
I'd just like to say a couple little things to wind up. This is one of the last pristine areas around here, and it really deserves protection for future generations, number one. Number two, about 2/3 of it's in Lake County. This is a large area. We're talking almost 320,000 square miles. And over 200,000 of those square miles are in Lake County. I also want to compliment Mike Thompson because he's done a magnificent job shepherding this thing along. And there have been some concerns from some of the folks around the area, and he has addressed them all. And I just can't compliment him enough. And finally, I would like to encourage anybody that's watching this that is interested in preservation of natural lands to write to Secretary Jewell and President Obama, and please tell them you support the creation of this national monument to save this beautiful, beautiful, special place for all posterity.
And you can do that very easily by going to berryessasnowmountain.org. There is a link right there on the homepage at the moment to send a thank you to Secretary Jewell and also take action in other ways.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.